All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Just My Thought. I'm your host, Justice. Let's do it. All right, today's story is my 26 female fiance, 27 male, gave my brother, 28 male, a loan. Money. Anytime money's involved, there's always going to be a problem. He's refused to pay it back, and now my parents hate my fiance for threatening to take him to court and want me to break up with him. Oh yeah, I can't wait to read this one. So, without further ado, let's dive in. My brother is the golden child. All our life, our parents has handed him things and have conditioned me and my sister to do the same. So, when my brother asked my fiance for a loan, I stupidly didn't tell him not to give it. The thing is, my brother never pays anyone back. I've given him £5,000. That's crazy. I've given him £5,000 before, and I've never seen a penny back. My brother was supposed to pay my fiance back last week, and no one's surprised he claimed he didn't have the money. I think my fiance would have dropped it, but my brother said some pretty degrading things about my fiance and his family and their financial situation to his face. He then made a tasteless joke about how they, my family, should ask him for a bride price. Turns out, my fiance is smarter than the rest of us and had my brother sign an agreement before he gave him the money. He's now threatening to take him to court if he doesn't repay him the money by the end of October. My parents are furious because my brother definitely doesn't have the money to repay him, and they think my fiance is greedy and selfish. They've been demanding I break up with him since because they don't want someone like that in the family. My sister is egging my fiance on because my brother has taken a lot of money from her before too, and she thinks he deserves this. My sil has been begging me to make my fiance drop it since they really can't afford it and they just had a baby. My fiance said he doesn't want any of them, including my sister, coming to our wedding. I don't want to break up with my fiance, but I also don't want to get married without my parents being there. I know they're in the wrong here, but I feel like banning my parents who never took the money is a bit extreme. What can I do to make them all come to an agreement? My brother borrowed money from my fiance and is now refusing to pay it back. He also mocked my fiance and his family. My fiance is now threatening to take him to court if he doesn't repay him. My parents want me to break up with him, and my fiance doesn't want to invite any of them to our wedding now. Edit. He borrowed £15,000. Goodness gracious. Edit 2. I agree with my fiance taking my brother to court. That wasn't the point of this post. Please stop making comments implying I'm trying or tried to convince my fiance not to. Edit 3. It seems like I worded this post really badly, but I am not considering breaking up with my fiance over this. Whew. There's a lot to unpack here, so have a seat on the justice couch. Okay, first thing, I'm glad to hear that you're not considering breaking up with your fiance, because he didn't do anything wrong. He's basically the only one in this story that hasn't done anything wrong. Your parents are wrong, and we'll talk about them, but first let's start with your brother. Your brother's a deadbeat. He's irresponsible, and he's being a bum. There's no reason for a 28-year-old man to just continue to borrow money from people, and not just a few bucks. Let me get $50, $100. He's borrowing thousands and thousands of pounds with the intention of never paying it back. That is on your parents. Your parents have enabled him from a child. You said he was a golden child, and they've given him everything that he wanted, and they've trained you and your sister to do the same, and you all gave in to it. But this is on your parents. To call your fiance greedy when he's the one that gave your brother £15,000, that's crazy. Your parents, they need to understand that this is a teachable moment, okay? Your fiance is doing what they should have done with your brother a long time ago. By taking him to court and holding him accountable, your fiance is pushing your brother to grow up, because that's what he needs to do. He needs to grow up. There's no reason why he should be borrowing £15,000 knowing that he can't pay it back and knowing that he has no intention to pay it back. Your parents are wrong here. To say that your fiance is greedy is just terrible and despicable. So I understand why your fiance says that he doesn't want them at your wedding, because I wouldn't want them there either. but I understand that they're your family. So your fiance and your parents need to have a sit down and they need to talk. And your fiance needs to let them know, I'm not backing down on this. He needs to grow up because he's going to borrow money from the wrong person and it's going to have a different outcome. I'm not wishing ill on your brother, but that's the road that he's going down. He's just playing with fire. Money is a precious thing. And I don't care how much your fiance and his family are worth. That's a precious thing. I gave you money to borrow and you promised to pay it back. And the fact that you signed an agreement saying that you would pay it back, why would your parents side with your brother when they know that he signed the agreement? Why would your parents sign with your brother when they know that he's a deadbeat and that he's done this before? Stand with your fiance, take your brother to court, and teach him what your parents failed to teach him, how to grow up and be responsible. Again, have your parents and your fiance sit down and talk together, but don't back down. Stand by your fiance like you're doing and push your brother to grow up. Don't listen to the sob story from your sister-in-law because she had a baby and everything like that. You weren't thinking about that when you borrowed the $15,000. You weren't thinking about that when you borrowed the $5,000. You weren't thinking about that when you borrowed all the other money from my sister and from my parents. So save the tears. I'm not trying to hear it. Go to court, get your money, have your wedding, and have a good life. That's just my thought. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Should they just drop the money? Should they drop the case? Should the parents be invited? Whatever it is. There's a lot here. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so that's all we have for this one. Stand by for another episode. Make sure that whatever you do, do it justice.